another Conversations That Matter. My name is Brittany Butler.
And I'm Michelle Treese.
And we have some great guests with us again today.
Yes, so we have a play with McKinney Center in Umoja coming up called Crowns. And we have two of the cast members here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about who you are. So we'll start with you, Kathy.
My name is Kathy Walker, and I'm a retired speech language pathologist in the school systems and heavily involved in my church. I go to Friendship Baptist, and I have two grown sons, Brandon and Bryson, and a resident of Johnson City.
Okay.
Oh, hey everybody. I'm Ralph Martin. I from Cleveland, Ohio. Married, no kids, no nothing. I'm just working out here, I guess, and resident of Johnson City.
Perfect. So I've seen parts of the Practice of Crowns. Amazing. Have you, either of you, ever done any acting?
No.
So what said, I'm going to do this?
Angelita.
Angelita
Pretty
Bradley.
much, she just says things and you just want to do whatever. I did not realize how involved this play is. But, I mean, when I was little, we had operettas, and little performances in elementary school, but that's it. That's all of the acting I've done.
Right. Angelita Bradley is a co-founder of Umoja, based in Johnson City. Mm-hmm. Okay, and how about you, Ralph? Have you ever done any acting?
I had one major break, okay, like in high school. I was like janitor number 2, and all I did was just switch the mop around. I mean, it was mind blowing then, but that was my senior year. So by the time I got interested in all that acting stuff, I graduated. So then I graduated and I got on real life. Is it Angelita? Yeah, I was singing at Friendship, and she just came up to me and was like, "Hey, you know what? You want to be in the play?" And I was like, "Okay." I mean, I'm thinking it's like some regular old church play or something like. No, this is real. This is a real thing with a lot of songs and a lot of words. So I didn't really know I get into it all, but I'm glad I did though.
Yeah. So singing experience. You sing in the choir at Friendship?
No, at Thankful.
Okay, Thankful.
Thankful Baptist Church. Yeah, that's
And
what I go to.
any other singing outside of that? High school?
Off and on. A little. Singing is like kind of like an off and on thing.
Okay.
I'm definitely like on my on period right now. It's more like a, how far can I go? It's more like singing's more like a family thing, I guess. It's like it's like a family trait. So
Right.
No
formal training.
No, none of that. No, I wish I did though, but none of that stuff. I just whatever they need me to sing, I just sing. We just sing at like family reunions or little small events here and there. No, that's about it. That's all my experience.
Okay. And Kathy, how about you?
And I was a voice major.
Oh, nice.
I was a music major in high school.
Oh, fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And graduated as a music major and got a scholarship to ETSU and was in the concert choir at ETSU.
Oh, that is fabulous.
And so my grades depended on how well I remembered the Latin and Italian and German and whatever other language songs that I'd have to sing for my adjudication.
Yeah, fabulous. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll be calling on you for some stuff later.
No.
Oh my goodness. So when did y'all start practicing for Crowns? It wasn't that long ago.
No, it was June.
About June,
End
yeah.
of June.
Wow. Okay.
And performance weekend is next weekend. August 18, 19, 20. Is that correct?
And I
Yes.
think they're all sold out now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All sold out. I can't wait.
Yeah. That, oh man, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I know. It is.
It is.
It's daunting. And
Yeah.
especially after rehearsal yesterday.
Yeah.
That was a train wreck.
Yeah.
But Jules has already told us. She said the week before it'll be disastrous.
Yes.
and then it'll all come together. And I just hope and pray that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great, and this would be a perfect opportunity to plug. Get out there and get your tickets, but you're
All
late.
tickets are
If you
gone.
haven't got your tickets by
You're
now,
late.
it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
So tell us what Crowns is about. What is that referring to?
Well, crowns refers to the hats that women wear, and not just the very fancy regular hats. It's also like a mother, the hat of a mother, or the hat of a grandmother, or a sister, or some authoritative part in your family and what role they play in your life. But the hats also represent the African traditions of crowns, and when they came here and weren't able to do that, but then established churches, those crowns were like of pride. I'm going to meet the king, I'm going to worship God, and I need to look my best. And by wearing those hats, those crowns, then you are representing yourself to God.
My mom would always say to me when I was growing up, and I still hear it, your hair is your crowning glory. And so that was the cue, you make sure your hair is looking on.
Right.
And I know when I went from what I call I won't call it that, but the chemical curly hair to dreads, I have dreadlocks. My mom was like, "What are you doing?" She was very upset, But then by the time I fully extended it, she was like, "Okay." So like connecting what you just said, how does the ideal of crowns fit in your life, as personally?
Well, okay, I guess she's talking about women, but men have crowns too.
Men had crowns too. Yes.
Usually I wear caps. Mostly to cover my bald head here. But when I put a hat on, it's more like a confidence thing for me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like a stronger person. Depending on what type of hat. If I have a fedora on, what I'm saying, I feel smooth. If I got a cap on, I feel cool. It's just how it is.
I had baseball caps. I've got like two. My favorite one, I must have blown out the window in my car. I don't know where it is.
Yep. Oh.
I have no clue where that thing is.
Man.
But like I said, I don't wear hats. But I wonder, like you just said, certain hats you will put on very specifically because of how it makes you feel. Did you get that handed down from fathers, grandparents, grandmother, grandfather? How did that?
Okay, well, sorry that my father. I never really seen my father with a hat on. But I did see my uncles and things like that when we have I don't know. Convention, but if they go out or something like that, they will have the top hats or whatever, and with their suits and everything, and they act like they run the city or something like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of pick it up from there.
That's very interesting. I did not know my dad at all, and had some great uncles, but I don't recall them wearing hats. So.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did.
How about you, Kat?
Now, my dad wore hats. Not a lot. He didn't have a lot, but he had, in the summertime, a straw type dress hat. And then, in the winter or fall or whatever, he had another type hat that he would wear, but he didn't wear them all the time. But my mother, when going through all these parts and these characters and the props, it's my mother. And I mean, if she had a hat, it went specifically with this outfit, this suit, and the shoes, and the bag. When we had an estate sale for my mother years ago when she passed away, an entire bedroom was full of shoes. An entire bedroom floor was full of shoes because I couldn't wear her shoes. And that was part of the sale. So when the characters in the play talk about a purse to match the shoes, and the shoes would wear out before the purse and stuff. I saw my mom, and then talking about my grandmother in the play, her bedroom was a soft color pink, more salmon, not hot pink like the one that I'm talking about in the play, but it's the same thing. And she had an antique dresser, and everything that she owned as far as getting ready for the day was right there on that dresser, and Jergens lotion. Every time when I smell Jergens lotion, I think of my grandmother.
Wow. How about your mom?
Oh gosh. No, she never really wore hats or anything. We grew up, like I always knew it was a different religious denomination where the women would wear the hats, but in the Catholic church that we grew up in, I didn't see much of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
it was that's kind of my first awareness of that. You know.
My mom had hats. I don't recall her wearing them all the time, but my grandmom did. My grandmother had them.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, my grandmother was an usher, and I think when I see the cast practice and all that, I think about my grandmother at church as an usher with the white gloves, standing in the
Right.
room, you know, eyeballing people if you're too loud, and all of that. And they would wear hats. And white, everything was white.
Right.
I do remember that. But my mom, not so much. She would wear them, but not. But now my mom had some clothes, had some shoes, and I wonder where, for black women in general, having so many shoes and dresses that match and the purse,
Right.
you know, wonder where that stems from.
Well, it's just like that, the line that I say, when hats were a sign of status. So it's a sign of status. My grandmother didn't wear that many hats. She was very modest and very, you know, she loved working in the garden and her flowers. She loved all of that, and I inherited that from her. But my hats are caps, and I have
When you say caps, what is that?
like a baseball
Like a
type
baseball.
cap.
Okay, yes.
But of course, with my favorite team, I have several of those.
Ball lady.
Yes, definitely. I probably have 20 or 30.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
I feel like my head is too big. For
Aw.
hats. No, seriously, they never fit right.
Well, they have adjustable ones.
I'll have to see. Even like, cause I'll have a Saints hat,
Okay.
and it feels too tight after
That's
a
the
while.
back part.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Growing up, were you born and raised in Johnson City, Washington
No.
County?
No, I'm from Jefferson City,
Okay.
Jefferson County, where Carson Newman is.
Yeah.
And my mother was a school teacher. She was a school teacher. She taught in a one-room schoolhouse. She was the one-room schoolhouse teacher that taught the little ones while the older ones were cooking for lunch.
Oh, wow.
And then at lunch, everybody ate, and then she would put the little ones down maybe for a nap, and then she taught the older ones. And she did that for several years. She taught for 38 years. And then after she had me, she took a 3-year sabbatical and then wanted to go back to teaching, and they didn't rehire her in Jefferson County. So she found a job in Alcoa and would go there and rent a room from a lady that was a nurse at the hospital. And then when I started, I stayed with my grandmother, and then who lived right next door. And then when my dad would come home from work, my mom would have dinner ready and everything. And then she did that for 9 years. But then when I turned 6 and could start school, then I went with her to Alcoa and went to school there, to Charles M. Hall. And all the schools were still segregated at the time until my 6th grade, and then integration.
Okay.
But I never went to a school in Jefferson County. Lived in Jefferson City my whole life until I came up here, but never went to a Jefferson County school because I was with my mom. And then when she started working in Hamlin County, Morristown, I just went with her to junior high and then went to high school. She dropped me off on the corner at the high school. And
Who's your mom? What's her name?
Catherine Cubberson Molden, Moulden.
Okay.
And my dad is from Strawberry Plains.
Now, I'm from Morristown.
Okay.
So I bet
So I went to West.
Did you really? I did too.
Yeah, I went to
Morristown
West.
West.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, I did.
What about that?
I know. I'll have to look back in yearbooks and
Yeah,
see.
right. What year were you there?
70 to 74.
And we had to go to school together.
Mm-hmm.
I was there 74 to 78.
Wow.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
goodness.
That is amazing.
I know.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
You guys never seen each other? You guys
Now,
met
well,
each
if
other
you
in
didn't
school?
start till 74, see, I graduated in 74. See, I graduated
okay.
and then
Okay.
you
Yeah.
started.
That was
Yeah.
that summer.
He was coming in, okay.
Yeah, and I was homecoming queen.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, Randy Adams was my choral teacher.
Yeah.
I loved him. I loved him.
Okay, this is totally not a part of our conversation. Randy Adam taught Tish at Science Hill. Did you know
Right.
that?
I
Okay.
wanted Brandon to have him, and he retired right when Brandon started high
Oh
school.
gosh.
I'm
Okay.
so mad.
Such a small city.
I know.
Amazing.
Wow.
So how about you? Growing up in Ohio?
I say I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. All my family is from Cleveland, Ohio, but I was raised off in a smaller city called Twinsburg, Ohio.
Okay.
I mean, it's a nice town, predominantly white.
Now, is that near?
It's a suburb of like Akron, Ohio. You ever heard of the like the Twins Day parades? Like every year it's the biggest convention ever, and all the twins from all over the place come and that's it.
Oh,
Oh,
that's funny. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I was raised there.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Randy's got opinions about it.
I know.
No, what are they? What are they? I'm pretty sure I agree with most of them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I was outside of Akron for about 3.5 years. We lived there in Broomfield,
Mm-hmm.
Ohio. So
Mm-hmm.
Was that your favorite place?
look at my face.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Y'all see her face? Yeah. That's Ohio.
Not a-
That's Ohio. Right? Every time I say Ohio, everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, my father was the I guess he's the main breadwinner. I guess he had various jobs. I can't even say it. He did everything. I mean, he was a carpenter. He's a plumber. He worked in factories. He did everything.
Just did it all.
Yeah. My mother, she was. I guess she was just my mom. I guess she was just there taking care of us. She got a job every time that she could, but most of the time it was mostly just taking care of us mostly. We live on a street called it was Marwell Boulevard. I tell people it was kind of like. It was like the Black Wonder Years. I like to say. we had bikes. We had like friends down the street. It was just like we was running up wood trails and all the other stuff. My cousins, I saw my cousins like not too long ago. We had to get together and it's like, man, I loved y'all place, man. Y'all had breakfast, lunch, dinner every day. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, y'all didn't have breakfast and nothing like that. I could have sworn I visited the house and we ate. But I mean, they used to tell they told all their friends like how we used to like have all the fun and stuff like that. So I mean, my childhood was pretty good. So
That's a good memory for them.
I graduated high school in 2001. Then I moved from there to Pittsburgh. I lived there for a while. I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh for a while. Got a degree, associates in graphic design.
Okay.
Then I was going to move to Philadelphia, but my mother passed, so I had to. I went back home for a while, and I was just trying to find work. And I fell ill myself. I found out I had diabetes real bad. And then one day I just took my last check, whatever I had, and just moved to Tennessee. And my aunt invited me down here, and I've just been here ever since. So that's kind of like my story in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And so when did you move to Tennessee? What year was that?
It must have been like 2009, 2008, 2009.
Wow. I've been here forever. I've never seen you my whole life.
Yeah, see?
Who is this
Yeah.
man?
I know.
Your voice is amazing. I'm like, he must be from New York.
No, I'm just some Midwest guy. I'm there like north, but
Yeah.
Midwest, about right there.
So we generally talk about race and culture and things like this in this show. So tell me about, I think one of our favorite words, our favorite phrases is, when did you realize or let someone let you know that you're black? When did you have the first incidence of maybe some kind of a situation with someone of another race saying, oh, you're a black person? Especially with you going to segregated schools,
Right.
and then moving into desegregated schools.
But I grew up in an integrated neighborhood, and I had integrated friends.
Correct.
I have a childhood friend that her grandmother lived across the street. Grandmother and grandfather lived across the street. So when she would come to visit her grandmother, she'd always come over and play. And we're still friends today. And I know I grew up in the height of the civil rights era, but I never experienced anything, and I should feel fortunate. I didn't experience any discrimination or, I remember when I was little, we would go to the little 5 and dime store, and they'd have the little counter with the stools that you were not allowed to sit at. And I would go and sit and twirl around, and my mom would be going, get down from there. And they'd say, oh, she's fine. So I never really experienced, no, you can't come in here, or no, you can't use this bathroom or drink out of that fountain. I never experienced it. The first time I experienced anything like that was literally in college. And I had a friend who I went to high school with. I didn't have a car, so I rode with my friend up here or back home, and Mama would pick me up, or Daddy. And she had joined or was joining a sorority. And she just wanted me to come to one of their rush parties or whatever. And, or whatever this thing is. It's just like you just mingle.
Yeah.
And you go, we had gone to Panhellenic, because we lived in McCord. ETSU had this boom of female residents, and they had to open McCord for the women residents, and it was a men's residence hall. So she invited me to Panhellenic, and I went and just met with all the sorors, and just talked. And I had no intentions of joining a sorority, and I still have never joined a sorority. And I didn't feel like I needed to. But it was nice to be invited. And when the next day or so, I was talking with my friend, and she at the time lived in McCord, but then the next year, because she joined the sorority, she moved to Panhellenic. But we were talking one day, and she said, I am so embarrassed. I went, why? And she told me the conversations that the girls had. I was nice and all, but I was not that particular sorority material. And she said, I know it was because of the color of your skin. And that literally was the first slap in the face that I ever experienced. And I told her, I said, no problem. I mean, it hurt my feelings, but it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
But it did hurt my feelings because I'd never been shunned like that, ever. And that was just a big aha moment, I guess. But I told her, I said, no worries. I said, I didn't plan on joining a sorority anyway. But, but it did hurt my feelings. But I never, I got over it because I had plenty of friends. I have lots of friends now. And I've never joined a sorority. I didn't feel that was necessary. My mother was in one, but it was more of a professional teachers and this group, and I have friends from there because they had children and they would have little gatherings or organizations. I mean, just different little things that they would do, and so their kids would come. So I grew up with those kids and had a blast. And then they sponsored the debutante ball that I was in Knoxville at the Coliseum. So I mean, I was in enough activities and things.
Yeah.
I didn't need a sorority, but that was my first wake up call as far as race or any kind of discrimination or anything like that.
Yeah. Wow. How about you?
If I think about it, there's a lot of situations where there was like I guess it's race based, but I didn't really realize it. So, like I said, Twinsburg, Ohio is a predominantly white area, and the schools there, everybody, you get along or whatever, but most of the black kids or whatever, they all stuck together. Like at lunchtime, it's always like a group. There's always like this group, a big group, like in the corner of the seat. It's just all black people. And I'm always hanging there, but I never really thought about like why. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's just my friend. We just hey, let's eat some pizza or whatever we're gonna do, hang out, and let's go back to class and get it over with. But yeah, like small stuff like that. My first time I was in maybe like 6th grade, and usually the most time I can get to hang out with my dad is if he's off doing jobs, doing some type of side job. He was fixing this lady's house, and we was on our way back home, and he got pulled over. We got pulled over by a cop, and it was just for like a busted headlight or something. And the guy came out, and he was just like talking down, like all the way down to my dad, like really bad. And my dad temper back then was quick, I guess. So, he's going back and forth with him. He's arguing with him real bad. And the cop went back or whatever. Another cop came back. Okay, 2 of them came back, and saying that he's going back and forth with them. And then that was over there. He just drove off. And my dad just like sped off. Like, it felt like it was like 100 miles an hour or whatever. That's what it felt like. And then my dad just like, he was telling me like, that's when he's like telling me like how it is. Like, he was just, first he made sure I was okay and all that. But then he was just telling me how there's like, why I should be careful about, driving around doing anything. Like, because who you are. Now, I'm young, okay? It's really just going in one ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? But when I got older, and I started to see it, them stories started clicking back in my head. You know what I mean? So that was my first one.
That's the talk.
Scary.
The beginning of that talk. Yeah. That's something we just recently realized, that white families had no clue that black families do that. None at all. But it's been real for a long time.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
I remember, I've seen that movie, Green Book, but I didn't know anything about that. And we traveled across country to California to my cousin's graduation, and we stopped in this place in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was so hot. I think that was the first time I ever fainted, and I've never fainted, but it was just so hot. But I just remember with my in-laws going on trips because one of their sons lived in Houston. And my mother-in-law would be up at 4 o'clock in the morning frying this huge cast iron skillet full of fried chicken. And she would have already made potato salad. We had enough food to feed a small army that we would go with. But they were so used to traveling and bringing their food, because you couldn't just stop at any restaurant. You couldn't just stop anywhere you wanted to for anything. So they had enough provisions in the trunk for food, and then of course we took our luggage and stuff. But I thought, what is she doing? And then when we stopped at a rest area and ate. And this was in the 80s and 90s. I had no clue.
It's very interesting, and I think there must be well, I know there's a carryover. It's not even a must be. I know there's a carryover. Because my family, I grew up in Morristown, and my family on Sundays, we would plan to go to the Smokies. And that was before any of that was so built up. Very few things were there. The one place where the bear drank the chocolate milk, you remember that?
I think
that
so.
was one. That was a place, and there might have been one or two other places.
And the little visitor center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But we would pack up and have a picnic, and we would literally go into the Smokies and just pull off the side
Of the road, yeah.
Not even at a picnic stage area, anything. Just pull off and throw out blankets and whatever we got and have a picnic right there. And it reminds me of how, because back then you couldn't pull into a restaurant. You couldn't, go up to any other place and just have a meal. So we would always,
Yeah.
and it would be like 4 families, all my cousins and my grandparents and uncles and aunts and all of that. Yeah.
Did you say a bear drank chocolate milk? Can we go back to that?
Go back to
What?
click.
And-
Give a thumbs up if you remember.
At Cherokee, North Carolina, always had the Native Americans that danced
That were
and
probably not Native American.
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
But they always danced in front of the little stores that you could buy souvenirs and
Exactly.
yeah, and
It was you drive into Gatlinburg into the Smokies as we called it, and there was a place. It was like a souvenir shop, and on the side of the building was a fenced-in area, and there was a bear in there, and you could pay like 25 cents and get a glass bottle of chocolate milk. Pay and give it to the bear, and you can drink it.
Oh my god! Like a live
Like,
bear.
Yeah,
like
real
a
bear.
This is a real bear that had
but you
my mouth.
never saw real bears, unless you went hiking or something.
But we would go. See, we were probably at the edge of everything. We'd pull off, and my mom said that sometimes we'd pull off, somebody would see bear, we would grab our stuff and go to the car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, we're not leaving, but we will get in the car. And when the bear went away, we get our stuff back out. Yes. So it's those are fun stories to remember. But the basis of why we just pulled off the side of the road, as opposed to, and we realized after my grandfather died, who was the king of that trip, we continued to try to do that, and we would go on further in, maybe not actually know where to stop, but we'd go on further in, and my mom realized that if we had gone 100 feet more, there was an actual picnic area
Oh my
that
goodness.
we never even knew was there, because this is where we always,
Went all the time.
yeah.
How funny.
So, it makes me think about those traditions that we still do, but yeah, why do we do that?
Well, we talked last time, I'm sorry for interjecting.
That's great.
We were talking last time about still feeling weird about going into middle of nowhere gas stations.
Oh yeah.
Because y'all said that's still the case for you, and I said that I had that feeling recently because I was still wearing my mask. And I didn't want to go get hassled in
Because of
some
your mask.
small mountain gas station. Like, why are you wearing your mask? And I was like, I'm not stopping there.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I drive to Virginia Beach a lot, and after Charlottesville had their little moment, and there's a part in near Pulaski, Tennessee, where there's a big Confederate flag flying on top of the mountain. You wonder, okay, I know I'm not stopping here, but now Charlottesville got to be crazy. I ain't stopping there.
Yeah.
So
And because
Find
people have
places.
asked when I go to visit Bryson if I've stopped at the Buc-ee's in Crossville. No,
Yeah.
no, I have not.
Yeah.
is that a bad area?
Yeah, that's where you go on I-40, and there's this huge Confederate flag
Yeah, I haven't
that
been
hangs on the
that
interstate.
far. I get to the. Is it beyond Nashville?
No, it's before.
Okay.
It's before you get to Cookville. It's right after you go out of Knoxville and you go up on the Cumberland Plateau, and it's like the next city.
I got you. I've never noticed that flag.
Yeah.
Have
They
you
might
guys-
have made them take it down, but
Well-
it used to be a huge pole like a PAL's
Yeah.
flag.
Oh, wow.
That big.
Wow.
Yeah.
My heritage.
Well, I was gonna say maybe just for people who've never listened to this or watched it before, like maybe talk about why that makes you feel uncomfortable. I mean, I find it incredibly obvious, but some people may not.
To me, it just makes it just reeks of Jim Crow and racism. That's all it says to me. The Confederate flag.
Have you guys been to like ever past like Rome Mountain or like Mountain City? There's like I used to work for Aaron's and we used to do furniture up there all the time. And there's like Confederate flags
Everywhere, yeah.
everywhere. It's like big old. It's like I remember seeing the mountaintop and like right on the mountaintop, it's like a big old Confederate flag. And I used to deliver furniture and there's like they got Confederate flag and stuff all over the place. I delivered to a KKK convention once.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a washer and dryer, and we was going up the mountain. And when we stopped, the guy that was driving said, "Hey, you gotta stay here, okay? Don't go in there, and I'll do it myself." So he did, but he forgot something. I think he forgot something I needed. So I didn't know what it was, and I went in there because he forgot it was a tool. I got a tool. He needed a tool to tighten up the hoses. So I went in there and I gave him the tool, but then there's like this group of white folks. Forgive me. I didn't mean it that way. I don't mean that way. YouTube, I'm sorry. And YouTube world, I don't mean it. Group of white folks like it's like unanimously like at the same time like turn their head like
Oh my
and like
goodness.
stare right at me. It was like real quick, but they didn't have their robes or nothing like that. But I mean, you can see it. You can see like they have flags with like there's like there's symbols and
Wow.
it's like it's a circle. It's a white circle with like a cross in the middle. If you see those, stay clear from them. But then it was just real quick, and I went back and sat down, and he came back and he was like, "Hey, what was you doing?" I was like, "Well, I was giving you tools." Like, "Hey, man, that's the Klan. Don't go in there."
Wow.
And as soon as I got back and back to the office or the store, they called on me. They said I tried to steal something or I stole like some drugs or something like that, or I put drugs in their room or something like that. Like as soon as we got back. But they knew it was a lie because they knew what it was. But I mean, it was crazy.
Wow. My first job in the schools, I was in Carter County at Hampton and Little Milligan up in Butler. And
There's like a half a black person up there.
if that much. And I mean, I literally sat in the General Assembly when we had, our first in service, with everybody. We were at Hampton High. And I sat in the high school and I looked. And I just kept looking. And I thought,
Yeah, we're out.
I came home and said, I'm the only black in the entire system. There was nobody in the superintendent's office, no principal, no students. There would be one, maybe, in a school somewhere closer to Johnson City, like Range or Happy Valley, maybe, or something, but that's about it. Nobody. So the first year I was at Hampton, some teenagers in the community had broken into this little man's house, and he came back before they left, and he probably knew who they were. So they hung him in his front yard.
Those kids?
Those kids hung the man in his front yard. And all of these are Caucasians. So I just told my principal, I said, no offense, but I will not be up here for any PTA meetings after dark. Sorry. Don't ask me to come. And then I'd have to leave here, or Johnson City, to get to Little Milligan up in Butler on time, I'd have to leave by like 6:15. It's pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going up 321 up by Watauga Lake and everything, and it is pitch black until I get up to the school. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I went there twice a week, and that was an experience. And they didn't have your radar report to tell you that it's snowing, and school's closed. They didn't have any of that. So I remember going up 321 and looking out my rearview mirror, and I could see my tracks in the snow going up around the lake.
No, that's dedication right there. That's dedication.
And I got up as far as Lakeshore Marina one morning, and there wasn't anybody else on the road. I thought, I'm going home. So I just politely turned right back and went back home. I thought they can count me absent, but then they eventually called school off. And another time I was going through Elizabethton on, Broad Street that goes straight through. And I get to, there used to be a Blue Circle restaurant on the left. And I got to that intersection, that red light where you make the left and you go down Broad Street. And at the other end, I guess 19E, that end, it was like a blizzard coming toward me, and I politely turned back around. I got home, and Larry looked at me like, he looked at me like, what are you doing home? I went, you would not believe what it looks like in Elizabeth. And as I came back down, and the 4-lane wasn't even there. You went to Elizabethton on Milligan Highway. So I'm coming down Milligan Highway, and the snow is just a little bit, when you just see it collect a little bit and just swirling around. By the time I got home, changed clothes, and put my pajamas back on because I was going back to bed, you look out and the ground was white. Because Larry looked out and he said, you're crazy, it's not so. And he goes in to take a shower to get ready for work, opens the window again, and it's solid white. I went, told you. So I know there were a lot of people that were stranded that day because there wasn't any announcement for school to be out until like another hour. So, yeah, I went home.
And that's how it was in Ohio, but they didn't cancel school or anything.
Oh, they won't. They will not.
Or anything.
They will not.
I couldn't, I was there 3.5 years. I never worked a day there because I was like, I would get fired because I would see a flurry and I'm like, and my kid, I just kept him home. He was only in like preschool at the time, so I was like, he knows his ABCs. That's fine. I told them, I said, if it's snowing, I'm not there. And then and it snowed a lot. I never went here.
Oh yeah.
I blocked it. What is it? Lake effect snow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Lake effect snow every other day. Lake effect snow. But anyway,
I don't even know what that is.
I'm good.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow. It is. It's interesting how we modify our behaviors based on where we are. We do. Based on where we are. Oh, my goodness. I could not imagine working up in that end of the world.
Yeah. The secretary and I are still good friends. That you always had, your good old boy come in and say, I hear you got a working here at the school. She got hot. She said, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was so mad. I stopped by the office later and her face was red. She was so mad. And I went, what is wrong with you? Oh, so-and-so came in here and blah, 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 blah. And I set him straight. I told him we might even be kin. So then after that, we had called each other cousin or cuz. And if it's her birthday or something on Facebook, I'll say, cousin Bryson sent me a text. He went, who is this person and how are we related? I went, we're not, but we call each other cuz because of that incident. And I was just tickled that she just got so upset over ignorance.
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
I work with college students at ETSU doing their student teaching. And I have kids that are in Unicoi County, Carter County. It's, Washington, Sullivan County, the Greene County. But I had a student that was in one of the more white,
rural
white communities that I questioned, am I going to go up in there? And there was one school, a middle school, that was in an area that I have been told, do not go to that area. even in 2023.
That's ridiculous.
And I was assigned to that school, and I just said, I can't go to that school. I'm not going to that school. And I told her why, and she goes, Michelle, I can't even believe that you still do that. And she understood me, but that is still a thing. And we ended up getting that student switched to another middle school that I was fine going with. But
how were they in that school?
there are kids. There are very few minority kids that are going into student teaching. So this was a white student, so they were fine. They come in, and wherever you want to place them, if they can get there, they'll go. But I just told her, I said, I cannot walk in that school. So we're gonna have to change you up, or we're gonna have to get you a new supervisor. And she's like, let's switch schools. So we were able to do that. But yeah, even today, I thought, and I told the lady that I report to, I said, I'm a little black lady in a little black car. I can roll in there, and I mean not roll out. She goes, I can't believe it, but I still feel that. I'm
sad.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
It is. It's very sad. It's very sad. But so, do you guys have any questions for each other? Because I know you probably. Are you just meeting each other through the play, or are you?
Yeah, through the play. Yeah.
Yeah. You have been a secret. I'm telling you.
I know. And then in his profile, he had that he went to the Art Institute, and so did Bryson. But he went in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, I went in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And Bryson went in Nashville, so they have graphic design background.
Now you say your son, Bryson, he still does it, right? Like
yes,
he does his own business or something?
No, he works for a company and does designs and stuff for them.
Oh, that's so nice, man.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to your questions, is that what you want to do? Are you an artist now? Do you?
I mean, I guess I'm an artist. I mean, I haven't really. I haven't really invested like as much time as I should in graphic design. The closest I do is like I might do videos or something, or like any type of media stuff for the church I do, but or every side project somebody call me to do. But I mean that's about it. I mean
when I made the Crowns poster.
no. That crown part is perfect. It is perfect. I mean, have you seen the billboard? We on billboards.
Yeah.
We're on a billboard. Oh man, I was coming out of Zaxby's. I'm sorry, I'll get back to Richmond. Let me say
that was so cool though.
And I saw it with the corner of my eye. I was like, oh snap! And I sat there for like at least a few more minutes because it changes over time. I just sat like this. The one by the school,
by ETSU, the Kroger by
ETSU. We're going towards
Yeah, I mean, I held my phone up until my arms got tired.
Well, after he posted that picture, I went myself and sat in the parking lot on the hood of my car, just waiting to take a picture of it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna definitely do that.
Yeah, take a look. But yeah,
that's cool.
It's kind of hard to say what I guess my passion is now, because I'm working now. I'm not allowed to say where I work, but I'm working now, and it's probably the best job I ever had. You know what I mean? And I had graphic design jobs before, but I mean they were just like entry jobs. It wasn't like nobody really took me seriously. I had to fight twice as hard to even, somebody that knows my stuff or stuff like that. People say that it's probably better to like do it on your own, make your own business, but I don't know if I have the drive or if I don't know. I don't know. Always worried that someone's like, it's always a mental block when I want to do it. It's kind of like you getting old, or this is gonna cost billions of dollars or something like that, and I just go back to my shell and go back to work. So I mean I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of fluctuates. That we'll be here all day talking about my passion for life. So.
Gotcha. All right, questions for each other.
How do you feel like you're doing so far in the play?
One day, fantastic. The best thing I did yesterday was throw you that hat.
Yep.
She said throw it to Ralph. I went, phew, just like a frisbee. The rest of it was a train wreck. And then the practice before, I didn't have to look at my book once.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I needed it glued to my glasses. It's just like I don't even know what I was supposed to be saying. I don't know. I don't know. And I have no idea. I just hope that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next week, they're all on days because I'll know what I want to say, and then I just get either sidetracked or I'm not in the right spot, or I don't even know. You know, sometimes everything kind of works out okay, but yesterday was horrible. Like I said, the best thing I did was throw Ralph that hat. Took that hat off and went, choom. And that was the highlight of my rehearsal yesterday.
Jules does say that's a good thing. So we did, my kids were we did it together.
Oh, okay.
And the same thing happened. Like the week before, opening night, disaster.
Oh.
Everything sounded terrible. Everybody was like all over the place. And it's like a rite of passage to get all of that out.
Oh.
And then it was
I
fine.
hope so.
Yeah. She called it. She was like, you're going to suck about the Thursday before opening night. So,
that was our Thursday yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, we weren't even singing on tune. We weren't coming in
Yep.
where we were supposed to. Nothing. Nothing.
That's funny. That's a good sign.
Okay. Alrighty, I'll take your word for it.
You know what amazes me? That, you know, the script, like each person have like this big novel to say. They're telling their whole life story in one part. Like, she's one that gets up and she tells her whole life story about her mama and how her clothes fit her and the radios and all that.
And hats and
like, oh, I got one-liners mostly. Most I say is like when I'm a preacher and I do this little preaching scene. The preacher gets mad because nobody's tithing. Oh yeah, typical stuff. But that, and then I say a little paragraph, but I mean they have pages. They have like pages and pages to say in one act. But so I mean that amazed me. They still remember most of it. So like how do you like remember like your lines and stuff? Like how do you get in there?
I have them on my phone. I recorded myself reading my parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ralph would say in the morning, and then I say, right. And I just have been listening to it. I listen to it in the car. I listen to it at home. I had one cheat day last week, and I thought, I am not looking at anything. I'm going to turn the TV on. I haven't even turned the TV on. And I turned the TV on just for noise. Mm-hmm. I might not be watching anything in particular. It's just on. And that's the way I was when I was little. I would turn the TV on until Shock Theater came on. And I don't do scary anything. And Shock Theater back in the day, of course, everything's black and white. But, you've got Godzilla and the vampire, Dracula and Wolfman and all of those things. I did not watch any of those. So by the time those came on, after Bugs Bunny and all the good cartoons, I'd be outside playing, but the TV would be on. And Mama, or if Mama happened to be in the house or whatever, they'd come in the living room, turn it off, and I'd go to the living room window, and I'm looking through, and the TV's off. And I'd run right back in, go back in there, turn the TV on, come right back outside, play in the yard. So I have not had the TV on, because my TV will go on like all day. I would have been cleaning, washing clothes, just doing whatever. And then the TV will come on and go, are you still there?
Right.
I'm like, is it on?
Do you care? Yeah.
But I have not. I have one whole day of TV. And that's it. Because I'll get sucked into watching something and then I won't have looked at my script. Mm-hmm. And so I'm either thinking about it or hearing songs in my mind or listening to that or going back through the book or having panic attacks, thinking. I don't
But
know.
you'll start doing it now so many times, it'll become muscle memory.
Yeah. That's what I'm counting on.
Yeah.
I don't know myself.
And with those big long monologues, you know, you just, even if you don't say every word right, if you get that main idea across, you're doing it. Because the audience doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
That's true too.
So it's like when Julie
As
says
long
it's
as you're
the story,
getting that
telling the
idea,
story.
telling the story,
Yeah.
even if you don't say the right words.
There are so many emotional lines in that play.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
when we first practiced and Jasmine sang her part, I told her, I said, there's no way I can stand here while you're singing that. Because we were all in tears.
Oh, I've cried multiple times.
But now, when she sang yesterday, and I think partly because the whole rehearsal was a train wreck, but when she sang, we were just standing there
Yeah.
and didn't do anything. So it's almost like we're, what do you call it, desensitized. But she does that, and Talia, when you,
Yes.
Daddy, and she broke down, I thought, we'll never make it through this. I thought, oh
I
my
mean, I
gosh.
think most people at some point have actually had a moment of teariness on
Yeah.
the stage.
And I mean,
Yeah.
Talia couldn't, and then was it Stephanie?
Stephanie.
She broke down when,
Talking about her dad.
yeah, when she was talking about her daddy and stuff. I thought, oh my gosh, are we going to be able to go through this?
Right.
I know for me, there's a role that you have. First of all, Ralph's character name is Man.
Yeah, just man.
Just man.
Yeah.
And he plays all the different men in this thing. But you're the scene where you are and Talia on stage. And
Yes.
You're laughing at the hat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've never had a dad. Never ever have I had a dad.
Aw.
But when I sit in there, I'm doing the drones and I'm sitting there watching that scene. You are my dad. 'Cause I know, and I cry every time.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how dads are.
Yeah,
That
that's
dancing, all of that.
that's how I was a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
I remember learning to ride my bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
I had a big blue bicycle, had the sissy bar things and stuff, and it was big, for me to ride. But there was an empty lot next to my house, and because our house was on the corner, it was my granddaddy's house that we lived in, and then we had this vacant lot. Mama's garden was behind it, and then we had the lot where we built our house. My dad was a brick mason, and when we were 11, we built the house, and it still sits now. But I told Daddy when he came home from work, I'd know how to ride that bicycle without training wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And I rode all day around that lot and would go out on the street just a little bit to see if I could, balance. And then when he came home, I said, Daddy, look. And I got out and rode up the street on my bicycle. And I was just so proud of something I could do and show my daddy. He was a good man.
That reminds me. I did have a moment with my dad. I thought he was my dad. That's a whole other episode.
Okay.
I have the dad who I thought was my dad, and then about 5-6 years ago, I found out about my DNA dad. So, yeah, that's a movie. But I do remember when I was little. My parents divorced when I was 6. So I do remember going up the road. I had a bicycle. Could ride it, and for some reason he bought me this bike that was like the next size up.
Right.
Probably like how people buy shoes. You can grow into those.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. But I had a wreck up the hill, and everybody knew each other. Lived in a black neighborhood at the time. Mm-hmm. And the little lady up the road outside where I had my wreck called my mom. Celine, Michelle's had a wreck. You're going to have to come get her. I was laid out on the road. And so it was Junebug, what we called it. Junebug came up and literally carried me home. Mom got my bike, carried me home. And I had to go to the hospital because I had hit the gravel road and like all these little gravels were
In
embedded
your
in my
knee,
kneecap.
yeah.
it
Yep,
was
yep.
awful.
I had that. I
Yeah,
had those.
yeah.
Did-
So that is one memory
Yeah.
I have.
I
Did you-
think every black neighborhood has a June bug.
Mhm.
Because there was a June bug in Jefferson City
It's
too.
probably the same one. Don't be talking about my daddy. It's probably the same dang one.
I'll have to research that one.
Oh, we're getting these connections. Oh my God. Awful, right? Rob, you were going to say something.
I was talking about the gravel on your knees.
yeah.
I had tons of those. I was gonna ask you, like, I remember when I had gravel on my knees and like I take a shower and like the skin like bubble up. Did you have that?
Oh no.
Nope, that's definitely not. Okay, that's just me.
Ow.
That's just me.
That sounds horrible.
But yeah, it was just. I guess it was just bad skin or something like that.
Oh.
Oh,
Ow.
well.
I know mine were, my mom said that they were stuck in my kneecap. And I still have a weird little kneecap. It doesn't hurt or anything, but she said they
Still
were
has
trying
gravel
to
for
get them out.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
wouldn't move. They were stuck. So that's when she knew we got to the
Ouch.
doctor. So I had to get a shot. And mom said, because I hate needles even today, but mom said normally they were just going to put me on the table and just hold still. And it was a shot in the butt. Hold still. And she said, the nurse was like, you got to keep her still because my body was just twisted. Hold her still. So mom said one nurse held her my upper body, the other one held the leg. Mom held my legs down, and even my butt was still. Another nurse put that on her cheek.
Ow. Oh Lord.
I hate shots.
And this is
I
like
hate-
2 weeks ago? Oh my gosh.
I had the house that my dad helped build with the company. He let me lay a couple of brick
Oh, that's
just
cool.
but it had a carport. Didn't have a garage, just had a carport. So you had a wall that came up to about right here. Well, my favorite thing was to jump on it, like put one leg up and then cross the other one through and go on down to Mema's or go out in the yard instead of just walking around it. And my mom just kept saying, you need to stop jumping on that wall. You're going to hurt yourself. And I thought, I don't, because I put one arm up here, I put one leg up, and I swing the other one through and jump over that wall. But one day, my foot slipped,
Yep.
and I went all down my shin.
Green wall.
I mean, my skin was left on that wall. So,
Guys.
and she's on the phone in the kitchen. You had the kitchen with the phone line that's like 5 miles long. So she's on in the kitchen on the phone, and I'm trying to keep from screaming because I didn't scream because that would mean that she was right. That I shouldn't be jumping on that fence on that wall. So I hobble into the bathroom, and we had mercurochrome,
Yep.
which is like putting alcohol, just plain alcohol on a sore.
That's purple.
Yeah.
Orange or whatever.
Yeah, it was an orange. The one we had were orange. And so I'm going all down my shin
Yes.
as I'm putting it on, and then put bandages or something. And I don't know if I put pants on. I can't remember. I don't know, but just looking at that wall would just give me
Oh my
chills. But I do, and I probably still to this day you can see a scar.
Yeah.
Because it went all the way down, just right down my shin.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm bringing this full circle here. So you were healing physically, but it sounds like y'all are gonna like this segue. That being in crowns is healing for y'all, even for people who didn't necessarily have an experience with a dad. Like seeing that sounds like it's kind of healing. Like seeing that and playing it out. Do y'all feel that as participants in the play?
Yeah, definitely with the healing part, especially with the main character. The main character Yolanda, she's trying to get over her brother's death, and and she's moved. Her mother moved her to South Carolina, and she's trying to adjust to a new culture. And in that process, she's healing from her brother, from the death of her brother, and becoming a new person. So I definitely see that.
That's a great segue.
Yeah. And this is a joint effort with Umoja, right?
Umoja and
And then the McKinney Center.
It's a
Right.
fundraiser.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It's
you know, you don't know what's coming in the future. There may be one performance down the line, or maybe a revamp. I don't know.
Look at you like,
If you
ah.
can get everyone together, you might have an
I
opportunity.
might
to
change
come
my
see
phone
it.
number.
Well, guys, we put in about an hour right there.
Really?
Nice.
Oh man, it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like it at all. It was-
Yeah. Any last comments, words?
Thanks for having me.
That's
man.
what I was
this
gonna
is
say.
this is amazing. you
Yeah,
know?
thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Definitely something I've never done.
This is good. This is good. I thought the two of you, we were going to have Crystal Reed on as well, and her schedule wouldn't work. But I just think that this is a great connection for the two of you as well as for us, and to bring this next performance coming in together and kind of wrap that around our real world and what we're experiencing. So I think it was fabulous. Great having you guys here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, folks.